In this video, we're going to look at using our calculator to do some basic computations. This calculator is different from a basic calculator in that we can input multiple steps in just one entry on our calculator. However, in order to do this, we have to remember the order of operations. The calculator follows the same order of operations that you've learned in previous math courses. So let's look at this first example. We want to use our calculator to evaluate 7 plus pi to the third power all over -3 minus 3/7. Well, what we have to first notice about this expression is that 7 plus pi to the third power is the numerator. And we want all of that addition and exponentiation to take place before any of the division. So in order to do this, we'll include the numerator in parentheses. We'll also do the same for the denominator because we want to find the difference between -3 and minus 3/7 before we divide. You might think that we may need to put 3/7 in parentheses, but we don't, because in our order of operation, multiplication and division will happen before any addition and subtraction. So we don't need to separate that with parentheses because the calculator is following the order of operations. So let's see if we can put this in. Notice that the parenthesis is located right above the 8 key. And then of course we'll type 7 plus, we'll use second and our exponent key to get pi. We're also going to use our exponent key to raise pi to the third power, and we'll close this with the right parenthesis. Now we'll use our division symbol and another parenthesis. Remember, for -3, we're going to use the negative key located near the bottom right of the calculator, minus 3/7. And to put into 3/7, we'll just use our division key, because again, that division will take place before any addition or subtraction, and we closed it with a parenthesis. We'll hit enter to get our answer. Okay, the correct answer is -11.085. Now we want to evaluate 3 plus pi over 7. Okay, and this is pretty simple. We don't have any division. Remember, this will follow our order of operations. So we've got 3 plus pi divided by 7. Okay, without putting parentheses around the 3 plus pi, this only divides pi by 7, not 3. And so for this one we get the answer 3.44879. Now we want to evaluate the sum of 3 plus pi divided by 7. So this time we do want to include 3 plus pi in parentheses. And so notice this expression is typed differently from the previous expression, and we should expect to get a different answer. At this time we get 0.877 because that entire sum was found first, and then we added, or then we divided the sum by 7. Now we want to look at raising a number to a power. And so we're going to take 7 and raise it to the 2/3 power. So we have 7. We're going to use our exponent key. And because that 2/3 is all an exponent, we don't want it to be raised to the second power and then divided by 3. We want it to be raised to the 2/3 power. We want that piece all in parentheses. Okay, so this is 7 raised to the 2/3 power. And for this we get an answer of 3.659. Now let's talk a little bit about scientific notation. The calculator will give you answers sometimes in scientific notation, and you can input work in scientific notation. To use scientific notation, we'll use this EE function, which is located in blue on the comma key. And basically what this key means is times 10 to whichever power you indicate afterwards. So we're going to look at 5.34 times 10 to the negative 23rd power. I would enter this as 5.34 times, or rather, we're going to use our second E, and it puts one E there on the screen. Again, that means times 10 to the, and then we're going to put in behind that negative 23. And that would be our representation for 5.34 times 10 to the negative 23rd power. Now sometimes we can't put everything in one step. Maybe we're only doing a portion of that calculation, and then we need a piece of that calculation to perform the next. And so that's when we would use our answer, the previous answer. Okay, we can get to the previous answer by using the second key and this negative key. Okay, for instance, suppose I wanted to take this previous answer and multiply it by 100. Okay, then one way I could do that is to say times. And notice as soon as I say times, it was looking for something in front of the times, so it automatically assumes whatever the previous answer was. So I didn't have to enter anything there, and we'll just put in a number. So it uses that previous answer for me. I may not have needed the previous answer in the first spot. So let's say I wanted to do something like this, 560,000 plus my previous answer. To get to previous answer, I hit my second key and then the negative key. Now my previous answer is 5.34 times 10 to the 8th. And I'm going to raise that to the 15th power. Okay, but we were able to input that previous answer, and we get this answer now. So that's how we can use previous answer in our calculations. Sometimes our calculator will give us our answers in a decimal form, and we really want it in fraction form, and if it's possible, the calculator will convert it back to a fraction. So we're going to evaluate 2/3 plus 4/5. Okay, so I've got 2/3 plus 4/5. Okay, notice I didn't use any parentheses. That's because division comes before addition in our order of operations. So I don't have to use any parentheses. It'll do the 2/3 and the 4/5 before it adds. When I hit enter, it gives me the decimal answer, but I'd like to know what the fraction answer is. So I'm going to go to math, and the first option here is fraction. So I'm just going to select enter to select number 1, or I could just press the 1 key, and then I'm going to hit enter again, and it converts it to a fraction, 22/15. Sometimes it's not possible. There is no exact fractional answer for the decimal number that we've come up with, and it'll only give you that decimal again. But if it is possible, it will give you the fractional answer.